spawning on in the top left-hand corner, the blue Protoss, it is ZEST. And his opponent in the bottom right, the red Zerg, it is ARMANI. Alright, okay. I'm going to eat my words apparently, because I was saying that ZEST does not cheese nearly as much as, say, someone like Parting. But nope, this is a very fast probe, and this, I'm assuming, will be a forge. Let's see. Oh no, okay, wait. Ah, it's just a hatch block, sorry. My mistake. You can hope. We can always hope for a cannon rush. I'd love to see ZEST do it. I just want to know that he could do it, you know? But maybe it's just something that he doesn't practice and has no interest in practicing. I suspect he could do one, but it wouldn't be on the same level as someone like, I don't know, like SOS or Parting. Oop. Man, that's really weird. I don't know why when I mouse scroll, my screen sometimes just jumps randomly. But all this really means is that ARMANI just has to take this faraway third. And considering how early ZEST pulled the probe to do this block, I'm not entirely sure that's worth it. I mean, it's a really big map. I mean, I don't see how he's going to punish ARMANI for taking a faraway third on a map so big. But maybe he's got a plan. Maybe there's just 4D chess that my little monkey brain cannot understand. I do suspect that we'll see Stargate out of ZEST. I mean, it is one of the strongest styles out of Protoss at the moment. It's very likely that ZEST has been practicing that. But ZEST could go for a whole bunch of things, and that's what makes him so scary. Like, you know, he could very well go for Adepts. He could very well go for Blink Charge, DTs, Archon Drop. He's got it all up his sleeve. Now, it will go for the Stargate. It is meta, so it does make a lot of sense. Now, ARMANI, now usually you can check here. He's got Overlord in a really good position. So if this is a Stalker, he can go to this little ramp here. If it's an Adept, he can fly in. But so far, ARMANI's not responding to this at all. Third base on the way here for ARMANI. Of course, you do need this. Oh, game sound could be louder. Oh, okay. Thanks for letting me know. Let's just turn that at top. Both game sound and music, let me know. If that's too loud, too quiet, just let me know. I'm always very cautious about increasing it too much and then I can't hear anything at all. Okay, Void Ray on the way here for ZEST. Which again, interesting. I mean, this is one of the bigger maps in the map pool. Outside of, obviously, Gigantho. But, I mean, Void Rays have had a whole bunch of movement speed buffs, so it probably won't matter too much. Alright, goodbye Overlord. I believe he did scout the Stargate making an Oracle, yeah. Okay, so he should know to get Spores to deal with that. The Void Ray, you don't necessarily need Spores. Queens are like, they have enough range to deal with it fine. But the Oracle, with its high DPS, yeah, you do need a Spore though. Alright, Creep being connected here for ARMANI, so he's going to be feeling pretty comfortable. Interesting on the one evolution chamber. I have the feeling that this is going to be +1 melee, and he might just be going for a big ground assault. But funnily enough, we actually have a second Stargate for ZEST. So, double, like, melee attack builds are often quite good against Stargate, because there's just so much on the ground that the Stargate can't deal with it, even though, in theory, it can kill all of the Zerg units that can't attack air. But the thing is, the Zerg will deal so much damage before that happens. Oh, Carapace, okay. Okay. Not what I was expecting, but does make sense. The Carapace, of course, very good on the Queens, especially when they get a lot of transfuse. So, with the Lair on the way here by ARMANI, I'm expecting a Nidus timing. He's gonna get to Lair, drop a Nidus, build a whole bunch more Queens, most likely. and then go for a timing attack with their Carapace finishing. Alright, yeah, Mass Void Ray coming out here for Zest. And charge. I mean, it's one of those compositions where it's like, well, what wins? Roach Queen or Void Ray Zealot? I mean, they're both quite strong. It does, of course, come down to positioning, the amount of units you have, the upgrades you have, and obviously your control. So I wouldn't really favor either composition necessarily. There's just kind of too many factors at play. Like in even numbers, they're kind of evenly matched. Let's see, Evolution Chamber. Oh, okay. No Nidus Worm. Not going to be the Mass Queen. Obviously, you know, Queens are still good on the defense against Void Rays because of their massive range. But no, he's just going to play very passive here, go up to 4 bases, and honestly, I honestly think the longer the game goes on, the more I actually think that this is good for ARMANI. I feel like he will get more and more into his comfort zone. He's already taken a late game versus Hurricane, so it does seem like it's something he has been practicing. But I mean, I wouldn't underestimate Zest. I'd be a fool to do so. Looks like the scouting has been good by ARMANI, so surely he must have a good idea about the double Stargate Void Ray production here. Not actually a lot of units on the field here for Zest. Both players been very skimpy with the unit production so far. Just been a big focus on workers. 70 workers for both players actually. Let's see, Storm, halfway from done. Obviously Storm, a huge help versus the Hydras. What are the upgrades like actually? +1 Carapace, +1 attack, okay. And Fleet Beacon. So, still only 2 Stargates at the moment, so this might be kind of like a slow transition into Carrier, but I should be seeing a 3rd Stargate shortly by Zest. Ah, second Robo, okay. Okay. I mean, I guess if you make a lot of models, you just kind of have this really beefy, high HP ground army. The models are not great versus like Mass Hydra, for example, but of course that's why you kind of mix in the Storm. So I guess Zest is trying to make just a very solid ground army with the second Robo. +1 air attack, and the first 2 carriers are on the way. And there's the 3rd Stargate. Okay, so he's just kind of staggering it then. There should be some Storm here. Yep, there goes the first one. The second one is available. But, wow, okay, Zest is really not ready for this. So the Roaches do get cleaned up very quickly there. More Storm heading in. ARMANI is playing quite cautiously here. He really does not want to eat that, that awful electronic widow. Oh, okay. Borrow Roach. Cool. Now, there are 2 Robos, so Zest can make quite a lot of... can make, you know, 2 observers at a time if he is caught off guard by something like that. But it might be able to do initially a lot of burst damage, and it's always a great way to kind of trade out your Roaches. I mean, he needs the Roaches versus Zealots, and to, you know, try and kill the ground forces like the Archon and the High Templar. But eventually you're going to want to trade them out. They soak up your supply, and it stops you from getting a high quality army. Good defense. I like this kind of defensive production setup, should I say, out of Zest. This is a nightmare for a Zerg to attack into. I'm actually curious, does the Stasis Mine trigger if it can't see a borrowed unit? Now, obviously there is detection there, so that won't be the case, but if anyone in the chat knows, I'd love to know. Is there an observer? There's one. Where is the observer? Oh, it is with the army. Okay. So I don't think that the Borrowed Roach will be scary for Zest at all. He should be on top of that. Alright, he's going to go in, but this is his trap. Oh, half of them are gone. Oh no. That is not good for ARMANI at all. Good defense, good pick up there by Zest. Now, of course we do have Vipers and Lurkers and Pathogen Glands on the way here for ARMANI. Dark Shrine, +3 attack, +2 air attack for Zest. So, yeah, I think Zest is an... I like his army more, I like his upgrades more. I like his setup. It feels much more... a lot more consistent than what ARMANI's got at the moment. Oh no, this is just gonna roll right through ARMANI apparently, and he does not have much anti-air left. There's Zealot's counterattack as well. Looks like some roaches going on the counterattack by ARMANI, but all of this pales into comparison if you cannot do anything about all these carriers. Now, actually there's not that many interceptors, funnily enough, but looks like 4 High Templar with a lot of storm between them. So feedbacks, of course, could go down on these Vipers. And big storms could go down on these Hydras. Now, looks like ARMANI is just trying to buy time. He's just trying to wait for his Ling Hydra to be created from his hatcheries. And here they come. A lot of Lings coming in here. It looks like the storms have run out. Parasitic Bomb on the Void Ray there. The Lings will clean up the ground army. The Interceptors are running out here for Zest. Has ARMANI been able to clean up this Air Force? It looks like he's going to go into the main base. He might be using this to buy time for a recall. Yep, he will be. Good save on the carriers. Those are very expensive. You don't want to be remaking those. But 21 drones going down here for ARMANI. That's a huge economic deficit. So, I mean, ARMANI, he's got the army supply lead by 40. But the longer this game goes on, the more difficult it's going to be. I mean, it's going to be quite difficult for him to catch back up an economy without losing his map control. Oh, I love this. Observer Dark Templar. That has to be one of the best creep clearing tools in the game. Okay, now there are Lurkers. And there's... Oh yeah, there is faster borrow, but not range for them yet. Oh, okay. Viper Ducks do go down on the carriers. There are a lot of Zealots here. Looks like they're gonna slowly cut through the Hydras. The Lurkers are dead. So this army is just gonna get butchered. And that's pretty much all ARMANI had going for him. He does not have the economy to recreate this. Look, I reckon one more wave here by Zest. He's got the money for more Zealots. He could clean this up. So GG does get called by ARMANI. Is Zest going to take game number 1? Time did lose. I lost 3-0. Okay, I mean, Zest, he is... Okay, I was wrong to doubt him. He does have very good late game. Clearly, he has some practice with that Mass Void Ray style. And I like that he's got a very kind of varied army comp. I mean, he's producing double Robo Immortal. He's got High Templar. He's got a lot of Zealots. He's got Void Rays. He's got Carriers. I mean, it's a... What do you make against that as Zerg? That's a really difficult one to fight into. I think a lot of Zergs have been kind of opting for like Infesta Hydra, maybe fungal growthing, neuroparasiting the carriers, potentially using the what do you call it? The cloud. I don't use it. I don't even know what it's called. The cloud that reduces incoming damage from air. But it's unlikely. I think it's that spell is fundamentally flawed, because if you drop it down, the Protoss could just go away. They can just leave and attack elsewhere, and the energy that you spent for that spell just gets wasted, and they just attack you again. So I guess if you pair it with fungal growth, then and they're forced to fight you, then maybe it's good. But that's a lot of energy on festers, and you start kind of cutting down your other unit counts, like your Hydra counts, your Viper counts, and so on. Anyway, we are here in game number 2, spawning in the top left-hand corner, the blue Protoss. It is ZEST. And his opponent in the bottom right, the red Zerg, it is ARMANI. Looks like ZEST will not be sending the fast probe this time. He did do that to block the natural expansion for ARMANI last game. But no, just going to go for just standard gateway, expand. No scout either. ZEST, not afraid of an early pull. Of course, this is a best of 7, guys. I would expect ZEST to do Stargate almost every game of the series. Maybe not every game of the series, but I expect that that's probably what he's practiced, and it's usually a bad idea to pull out strategies that you have not been practicing as much. And ZEST does not strike me as the kind of person that has a lot of cheeses up his sleeve. He usually kind of does one thing and does it the best. He strikes me as more of like the innovation of Protoss, where you know what he's going to do, and he's just going to do it really well, and either you can deal with it or you can't. Now mine is going to take the forward third here. This of course will mean that he can establish creep more aggressively than if he were to say take the safer third base location. Alright, Syra is about to finish here by ZEST, so we'll have to see if this will be a Stargate again. Oh, there's no pylon in the main base. Oh, it's a proxy. This is surely a Stargate though. Its position is too far away for Robo. Ah, interesting. He's going to leave the probe there. Now, ARMANI, like, I mean, if he did send this Overlord in, he would see that there's no pylon and no tech here, so he would know something's up from there. But so far, he's just been very passive with this Overlord. Even though he could completely fly it in, and there's nothing stopping it, and nothing on the way to stop it either. I think that is a bit of a mistake here from ARMANI. I think this might be like a 3 or 5 adept timing with like either 2 or 3 oracles. Can be quite scary. I have a feeling he's going to pull these. No, okay, he's going to just rally them in. It is very fast. I mean, as a Zerg, generally you expect the timing of oracles to show up at about 3 minutes 30. This looks like it might come out at... Oh no, it looks like it will be 3 minutes 30. But it is a big map, so you would expect it to come later. Alright. ARMANI does scout it with the Zergling. Looks like ZEST's just going to Chrono Boost, maybe use the second Oracle to kill the Zergling there. Oh no, he's got a depth on the way. Spore Crawler being made at the third base. No drones. Oh, there's a Creep Tumor there blocking the Queens. So they're actually a little bit behind where they should be defensively. Alright, Overlord does come in here. Does scout that there is, well, at least no follow-up tech. Twilight Council Gateway. Okay. This is most likely one of 2 things. I'm guessing Adept, but it could also be Charge. I suppose it could also be Dark Templar, but I feel like an Adept all-in makes the most sense. He's already got 3 Adepts. He's feigning a third base, but I have a feeling that's not going to be saturated. Alright, cheeky 2 drone kills. Let's see what these Adepts can do. Good pullback there by ARMANI. Alright, Twilight Council is done. Glaives, yep, so will be Adepts for ZEST. Something he was doing almost the entirety of 2019 and most of 2020. So, there's no wonder that he has this... this build's quite practiced by him. Now, Roach Warren is on the way here for ARMANI, so he hasn't scouted this, but if he just sits here, if he stops at 46 drones and just makes a lot of Roachling, he's probably going to be in a good position. He should be able to crush the Adepts and threaten a counterattack, and that would be lights out for a ZEST. Has ZEST seen the Roach Warren? I don't think he has. Let's see, let's just get his vision real quickly here. Oh, he has, okay. Let's see. That's a lot of Adepts, so that's 13 Adepts. Okay, and there's 2 Oracles with this. So there's a lot of DPS in this army right now for ZEST, but there has been a good amount of Roachling production here for ARMANI, so he definitely does have a defense. We'll have to see if it is enough. Oh, okay, he's going to hard wall off the natural, it seems. So that means that the Adepts from his ZEST cannot threaten, and he's just going to use it defensively here. Go into his third base and play this out, it seems. Oracle's coming in for 3 more drone kills. Very clean there by ZEST. How many Adepts is that now? 19, okay. That's quite a scary number of Adepts. Now, is there a Robo? There's 1 Robo, okay. So there's no Immortals as of yet. That Robo has only just finished. There are Queens pushing with us, so the Oracles will get taken out. Of course, it more so than the anti-air, it's going to be more about the transfuses for ARMANI. But that's so many Adepts. Oh my god, I think he can just fight this. Now, of course, the Ravagers are quite good against the Adepts. Looks like the Adepts are going to go for a flank. Okay, that's interesting. Shield battery's about to finish here for ZEST as well. He's already got 1. Biles will take that down though. Queen's going to try focus fire the Oracles, but these Adepts, I think it might actually be too much DPS. Reinforcement of Lings do come in. Okay, the Biles actually connect with that. It looks like ARMANI might just have what it takes to break through. It's very close. But the critical mass of Adepts is now gone. The Oracles are out of energy, and there are Queens to kill them anyway. I think ARMANI has actually broken ZEST here. Oh, the Cybernetic score. Oh no, that means no more Adepts, no Stalkers, just Zealots without charge out of the gateways for ZEST. But he is making an Immortal. If he can get a Warp Prism out, which I don't think ARMANI's going to let him do, maybe ZEST can stabilize, but he's taking a lot of damage here. GG. Cool. I mean, that's what I wanted to see, man. I knew ARMANI had it in him to pull out some dirty cheese. Well, to be fair, ZEST was going for a cheese himself with the proxy Stargate into 4-gate glaive. So it was a very clean, decisive response there by ARMANI, and he stopped making too many drones. He made Roachling at the right time. He also walled off his natural, so he did all the right things. ZEST was not able to crack him there. It is one of the risks if you go for a glaive build, is it's very inflexible. So either you micro your opponent to death, which ZEST is a pro at, is one of his trademark moves, or he just kind of stumbles a bit, and ARMANI had the right punish to counterattack. Cool. All right. Well, it's actually 1-1. I don't think many people expected that one, but I mean, ZEST is still favored. I think if these are standard games, then ZEST will most likely come out on top. But hey, don't count out ARMANI. He can throw out some timing attacks. He can punish the blue Protoss here that is spawning in the top left-hand corner. It is ZEST. And his opponent in the bottom right, it is ARMANI. Alright. Romance side. I usually feel like this is a good Protoss map. Being a Zerg player myself, I usually find this one a little bit uncomfortable to take bases on. Looks like ARMANI's just going to take this third base first. But typically this game in this map in competitive play does usually go into the mid to late game. There's not too many cheeses that can break their opponent. So I would expect to see that out of ARMANI here. I would like to see if he makes any adjustments to ZEST Stargate play. Because it didn't seem that bad. It just, like, in the same way that Time didn't see that bad against ZEST either. It's just that ZEST made some really decisive army movements, able to catch chunks of his opponent's army and close out the game like that. But everything else out of Time and ARMANI in the macro games that they played versus ZEST were kind of matching him beat for beat. I think ZEST maybe has that star factor that you can't quite quantify. It's just a little something else that ZEST brings to the table that makes him a little bit special. Okay. Yeah, I expect Stargate every single game, even the proxy Stargate in number 2, game number 2. I still think this has been quite a wasted opportunity for ARMANI not sending the Overlord in after scouting the Adept first out of the gateway, because it is essentially a free scout. And he did send it in last game later on anyway, so it's not like he was trying to keep the Overlord live. I guess maybe he just assumes it's going to be Stargate anyway, so maybe he doesn't feel like he has to sack the Overlord. Cool. So I mean, so far ZEST has done Oracle and Void Ray, though the Oracle was because of the proxy, so it could hit faster. I suspect that this is going to be Void Ray. Yep, there it is. Obviously, this is like very common in ladder at the moment, so maybe ARMANI wasn't quite as practiced versus ZEST style of Mass Void Ray. So again, I want to see if he makes any adjustments here. If he wants to change up the timing that he attacks or the composition that he uses. Obviously, ZEST will in turn be able to make adjustments of his own, so I think ARMANI can kind of match him toe for toe in the mid to late game here. Cool, the base here for ZEST and is scouted by ARMANI. Spellcrawl is already out here for ARMANI, so don't expect the Void Ray Oracle to do too much damage other than just pressure. So far, okay, there's going to be a second Stargate behind this here for ZEST. So probably going to be doubling down on the Void Rays, and again, that's just the meta, that's something he's been practicing. It's not like that's going to necessarily catch ARMANI off guard. Good Spellcrawler micro here by ARMANI, keeping his drones alive. I think he did actually lose one of them as well as building, yeah, so that's actually a risk, by the way. Like, if you try to make them into spores to save them, if they then kill a spore, then you've actually lost even more money, so it is a risk that you take when your opponent can actually focus down the spore crawler with a Void Ray rather than like a Reaper that just tickles it. Roach Roaring Carapace by ARMANI again, so it looks like that's just what he's practiced. That's what he did in game number 1 against this as well. ARMANI with a lot of map vision here, so he should be able to catch whenever ZEST moves out. And ZEST being able to pick off some more creep tumors as well. Forge and Twilight. Yep, that's what we saw in game number 1 as well. That was a +1 attack and charge. So it should be the same here. Does not make sense to get Blink or Glaives. Yep, there we go. +1 attack and charge. I really like the shield battery back here too. So you can kind of like wall off with units and then wall off again. Like, it's actually quite clever. That's quite difficult for ranged units like Roaches or Hydras to get to without fully committing on it. It's also a good location for things like mutas as well. If your shield batteries are like further out, like say here, then the mutas can still just come in and kill the probes. But if it's in the middle line, then obviously it does help on the defense. Although that is a moot point if you if the Zerg player has a critical mass of a muta that just one-shot the probe. In which case, I guess the shield battery is not that helpful regardless. Templar Archives on the way, so that should be for Storm. 6 gateways, so yeah, he is going up to that 8 gateway charge. So it's going to be a ground army of Charge, High Templar, Archon, and there's the Robo, so it should be Mortals mixed in there as well. Looks like Zest has made the 6 Void Rays that he wants. So after the Robo and the Storm, he's probably going to go into that Fleet Beacon once again. There's his 4th base. And Roach Hydra here for ARMANI. So far he's been making primarily Hydras. Well, he is making Hydras now, should I say. No Roaches as of yet, but he wants the Roach speed in case. Obviously, if you make pure Hydras, although they're great against the Skytos, they do fall apart against Mass Charge a lot and Storm. So definitely need a combination of units. And also the Queens as well. This map's a bit smaller than Death Aura, which was game number 1. So, like, Walking Queens could actually make an appearance here. Alright, there's the Fleet Beacon. So, Zest will be going into his carriers very shortly. I do expect this game to go on for a while, by the way, guys, so do get comfy. Neither player really gearing up to be able to kill the other. I mean, there's a lot of Hydras on the way, so ARMANI will be the first to attack, but may not be for a little bit of time here. It's funny seeing the High Templar auto attack. They'd got 1 kill there, so that High Templar feeling pretty good about himself. Alright, +1 air attack, and should be seeing the second carrier being created shortly. Yep. Cool. I mean, it's identical to what Zest did in the first game. What was the result of ARMANI versus Hurricane? I believe that was 3-1 in ARMANI's favor. Thus, ARMANI moved on. In fact, one of the longer games of that series was on this map, which ARMANI did actually win versus Hurricane. So, although I favor Zest, I have complete confidence that ARMANI could actually do this. Oh my god, what's that? Is that 8 queens and 4 roaches? All right, that's interesting. Well, I suppose they wouldn't be really good at the front just because there's no creep. So it makes more sense for them to be in drop lords. But they don't have a lot of DPS. I don't think this is going to actually do that much damage, but we'll have to see. ARMANI, of course, is trying to get Zest out of position. Trying to maybe use these roaches to kill the High Templar. Oh, and Nidus going down. He's dropping creep. Okay, interesting. So he's going to unpower the buildings, and then with the creep there, Zest will lose his ability to re-establish power to these buildings. Can he get +2? That actually would be a big deal. Yeah, it looks like he's going to get it. Oh, no, he's not focusing it. Oh, get +2. Okay, he gets it. Alright. Feedback goes down on the Queen there, but there's a lot of energy, so this is going to go on for quite a while. ARMANI looks like he is being pushed back at the front here. The Storm's doing a good job at pushing the secondary army away. More Nidus Worms going in here. It looks like the secondary army is going to now unload. As they now go into that Nidus and rejoin the fight. So now ARMANI has just squeezed his entire base, his entire army into Zest space. And Zest does not have a lot to defend. This was a very decisive all-in here by ARMANI. Just before Zest could kind of hit a critical mass of carriers, of zealots, and archons. ARMANI just going straight for throat, so I don't think Zest can kind of come out of this one. He's lost a lot of his infrastructure. I mean, he will have a few storms, he does have a few carriers, but already the Inceptors are dead. There's just no meat here for Zest to pull this, fight this back. Yeah, I think ZEST realizes he's in a lot of trouble here. Okay, a few more carriers do come out, but there's still just so many Hydras, so many Queens. They destroy all the interceptors as they come out one by one, and that's gonna be it. GG. ARMANI taking the 2-1 lead. I don't think anyone saw that one coming, but I don't know. I didn't think this would be as one-sided as most people would consider. Like, ARMANI is quite good, and I think the current meta of CVP actually plays to ARMANI's strengths more than it plays to ZEST's strengths. I think that's at least my interpretation. But I mean, ZEST is definitely someone who can bring this one back. I'd be more skeptical if it was the other way around and it was actually ARMANI down a game or two. I would be quite hesitant to say that ARMANI can reverse sweep, but ZEST certainly can. Never count ZEST out. He's a tournament winner for a reason. But ARMANI must be feeling pretty good. He must be feeling quite confident going into this fourth game. And it's going to be on Submarine, which is the smallest map in the map pool. I expect some cheese. There's going to be some cheese. I have a feeling it's going to be ZEST, but we will have to wait and see. Alright. Spawning on in the top left-hand corner, the blue Protoss, it is ZEST. And his opponent in the bottom right, the red Zerg, it is ARMANI. Oh yeah, there's an early probe. I think this is going for a proxy as well. No? Okay, no, it's going for a hatch block, but it may then also evolve into a forge. We'll have to see. What is this probe going to do? Gateway or forge, Mr. Probe? Gateway. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I do keep saying that I doubt that ZEST practices a lot of cannon rushes, but he could. But he could throw out a cannon rush, and I think ARMANI would probably not be expecting it, which is what would make it so strong. But if you've not practiced it, then that would be a little bit foolish, because obviously ARMANI would deal with the cannon rush a lot and would have probably a decent amount of experience defending one, whereas ZEST would have to practice doing a cannon rush and figuring out the nuances, which just takes a lot of time, a lot of practice. You obviously need some practice partners as well to figure that one out. Now this is a much bigger deal that this hatchery location has been denied and there's only a third base one. Because now that the map is a lot smaller, this means that if ZEST very quickly followed up with some faster depths, glaive, maybe a warp prism with charge, maybe some Stargate, if he does a quick follow-up before creep is established between ARMANI's bases, he then has to defend two fronts without being able to reinforce either one easily. So as we have to see if ZEST does capitalize on the faraway bases of ARMANI. Alright, Stargate again. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if this game it's actually a much faster second Stargate into Void Ray. That could work. Like, try to really press the issue before the Zerg can get a lot of queens out and get the creep between their bases. Oh, there's actually quite a lot of lings on the field, actually. It's 8 lings. Let's see, there's 1 adept. So these lings will be able to get a scout. There's no wall off here. It's interesting that it's sitting on the top of the ramp. But ARMANI, I think he's looking for proxies. Because he definitely could have gone into the main base here. Alright, Stargate's done and Oracle is on the way. Yeah, don't forget, I mean, it's not that big a deal that he made 8 Zerglings, but normally you only make 4 or 6, so it could have been two extra drones. which early on does make a difference. Ling's going to come in now that they have speed, but Oracle finishes just in time. I have a feeling they should have just gone without speed, but I don't know, maybe that would have been too risky. Oh, funny, the Oracle is giving high ground vision of the Overlord, so he's going to try and hunt that down. And the Oracle kind of in between, so if the Zerglings try to go for the Adept, the Oracle can defend, and likewise with the Stalker. So it's a really subtle but very effective play here by ZEST that I quite like. Oh, probe. Oh, good save. Okay, Spore on the way here from Armani. Obviously, he does need a... Oh, okay. Looks like ZEST will clean up the Lings. Does use his energy though. But perhaps he's wanting to play more passively anyway. Now there are 4 Adepts out. Now 4 Adepts and 2 Oracles can kill a lot of Zerglings. But they're not so good against Queens. We'll see what this can get done. There are 2 Queens here already. Alright, Adepts now going into the natural base. The Oracles are going to follow. There are 3 Oracles now. There's a lot of DPS in this army. It's a glass cannon timing attack here by ZEST. And so far, the Lings have died. 1 Oracle does go down. 2 Queens have gone down. Looks like the Adepts will retreat for now. That was clean. Didn't really achieve too much, but didn't lose too much in the process. Obviously, 16 Zerglings. Although they are Zerglings, it's not the biggest of deals. Again, Zerglings could be drones, so it is slowing down Armani's economy. He wants to be ahead on drones. He doesn't want to be equal on drones like he is at the moment. Very clever for ZEST to build sentries here. I think he suspected a follow-up all-in. 4 gateways and a forge and a twilight. This is being beat for beat what ZEST has been doing pretty much every game, so... He's just really good at reading the times that he needs to do that, even when things change a little bit. Alright, Oracle's getting pushed back. Alright. Yeah, it's funny when shield batteries were first introduced and people were trying to figure out how they're used, and nowadays people kind of put down 2 or 3 shield batteries in their third, and it just makes so much sense. It makes the base so much harder to kill. It makes your defense a lot stronger. I know this is all pretty common stuff, but like look at the timing that they are finishing here. So ZEST has read this really, really well. Alright, Zerglings coming in for the surround here. There is the shield battery overcharge there. But wow, okay, the DPS is actually insane. And it will cut through the initial forces here for ZEST. But there is a warping in the back. The overcharged shield battery does go down. The energy of the shield batteries are gone. So is ZEST dead here? I think Armani's got this. There's just nothing left for ZEST. There's no shield battery help. There's the air army can't help. The stalkers are dead, and the reinforcing Lings are probably just going to be too much for ZEST. Man, ZEST is looks like he's falling apart a little bit to the cheddar of Armani, and this is exactly how Armani had to do it. I mean, he needed to throw out some aggressive plays. I mean, ZEST is so consistent that he needed to kind of mix things up, and he's done a great job so far. Now, looks like ZEST might hold here. But yeah, losing his third base is a really big deal. He's definitely behind. But let's see. I mean, these are ZEST Blink Stalkers, some of the best Blink Stalkers in the game. So they should be able to do some trading here. Cool. Nice trades here by ZEST. This is exactly what he needs to do right now. And the thing is, it's actually quite difficult for Armani to decide when to use his queens. Because he needs to get them back on creep. they can't really fight the Stalkers, because Stalkers can always just blink back the weakened ones and just continue to trade. Oh, okay. Roach and Borrow, so that's going to be the kill move here for ARMANI. ARMANI is definitely in the lead. But it was good trades there by ZEST. I mean, if he is going to fight his way back into this game, that's definitely one way to start that off. Zogan's coming in here, but good rotation here by ZEST. Not going to let that happen. I'm surprised ARMANI didn't actually try to go into the base there. But Stalkers do clean that up. Plus 2 attack on the way. More shield batteries on the way here for ZEST, so he's trying to re-establish his third base. But ARMANI already has his fourth finished. Now, of course, he can't drone that, otherwise ZEST will actually kill him. So ARMANI at least understands that much. Yeah, the one way that ARMANI could actually lose this game is if he overdrones and ZEST continues to just make lots and lots of Stalkers. Ah, okay, Force Fields and Blink Stalkers. I mean, that is a composition that could beat larger compositions in theory. So we'll have to see if he can pull this off here. Like, if he cuts the army in half and pulls out some really good Blink Micro, maybe it can even up the supply deficit. But here we go. Big ball of Ravagers are going to come on in here, and they could just keep piling the ramp. So ARMANI is just kind of he's created 2 zones of damage, and ZEST can only defend 1. Because either ARMANI goes into the main base, or it just keeps piling the ramp here, and there's no good strategy that ZEST could employ here. This is a good checkmate move here by ARMANI. Obviously, it does help having overwhelming army supply advantage. More and more Lings are going to come in here, and GG. Okay, wow. Was not expecting this series to go 3-1 in ARMANI's favor, but kudos to him. I mean, he knew what he had to do. He knew he had to switch things up and play more aggressively. Don't let ZEST get into his rhythm. And it's working really, really well here for ARMANI. I wonder if ZEST needs to bring something a little bit more dirty to the table. Or perhaps maybe play more... It's kind of hard to say. I don't know what you really do against Mass Ravager Queen. Without, first, of course, doing a lot of damage yourself. Because it is quite a strong composition at that kind of early mid-game. Alright, well, map number 5 will be Oxide. ARMANI is now at match point. Let's see, I'm sure if anyone can bring this back, it has to be ZEST. I mean, he definitely has it in him to do a reverse sweep. He's definitely the kind of player that could do something like that. But so far, I mean, ARMANI just looks like he's got the gambit of cheeses. He's got all the Olins lined up for ZEST here, and it's so far been very effective. Alright, here we are, game number 4, spawning on in the bottom left-hand corner, the blue Protoss. It is, of course, ZEST. And his opponent, in the top right, the red Zerg, it is ARMANI. Cool. This is, of course, a best of 7. Another fast probe here. This is going to be for another hatch block, but I don't know. Maybe this is the game. Maybe this is the game that we see the Forge, but it is unlikely. Yeah, there's the gateway. ARMANI not even going to try. Just going to go straight for the third base location. He expected this right away. He didn't even have an Overlord scouting here. He just knew. He just knew that ZEST was going to do this. I guess knowing is half the battle. But honestly though, if this was a Forge and then he drops a pylon and a cannon behind that, that would be pretty bad for ARMANI. I suppose he does have this Overlord kind of hitting this way, but... So if there was like a pylon cannon, maybe Maybe he would have gone in to see that if the probe didn't go into the main base. But because the probe here, it's very unlikely that there would be cannons at your third. Not that Zest is the kind of player that would do that, but I don't know. I've had a lot of disgusting NA ladder games recently that have made me suspect every Protoss player hides a cannon somewhere. Alright, this is one of the more medium-sized maps. Yeah, I mean, ARMANI has so far been kind of using that to his advantage, especially in the smaller to medium-sized maps where you can just walk the queens across the map, and it's just this slow death march of Queen, Ravager, Ling, and so far Zest has kind of fallen apart to it. I'm not quite sure what he can do to kind of mix things up. It almost hits too fast with something like Storm, or to get 2 robos out. Maybe if he goes like Blink Stalker earlier or something like that, it's really difficult to say. So Zest surely would be thinking of kind of how to mix up his style here versus that all variant that ARMANI keeps throwing at him. But it is Stargate once again here by Zest. We did expect to see this in every game of the series, and Zest seems to agree with that. Alright, well, everything looking standard so far, nothing really out of the ordinary. It will actually be an Oracle first rather than a Void Ray, so that means that Overlord will survive a little bit longer. We have been seeing like different variations out of Zest, even though it is the Stargate first every single time. He's done games where he's gone, Void Ray first, quick double Stargate, or he's gone into Mass Void Ray, or 3 Oracles and Mass Adept. So it's not like he's being too predictable. He's not doing exactly the same thing every single game, which I think is important. If you are doing exactly the same thing, your opponent can start cutting corners and making adjustments, getting ahead without doing all the scouting that you would normally need to do against a player who mixes things up. All right, faster base here for Zest. But so far, ARMANI has just been droning and making queens, so looks like he's going to go for more of a mid-game timing, or at least play passively for the meantime. Oh, good pickup here by Zest. That's a very clean 3 drone kills. Good save on one of them by ARMANI, though. Alright, 3 Oracles again, and there are Adepts making, so he's going to go for this style. I think he did it in game 2 or 3, he did this. There we go. Oh, so 6 Adepts this time. It was 4 before. Yeah, it was 4 Adepts and 3 Oracles. So he's up the ante with an extra pair. Oh, that Adept's shaded on the wrong side of town, but these other ones should be able to clean up these Lings actually. And 5 drones going down in the main base here. Those Oracles making very quick work. Looks like the Adept's still trying to find more damage. There's nothing that threatens them just yet, so we'll actually cancel the shade. 14 Lings on the way here for ARMANI, and this is a lot of lost mining time. It's very disorientating. He's making a lot of defensive units, and Zest is just going to get out. He's just going to go home. He's going the long way as well, and this should decrease the chances of ARMANI finding them. But so far, this opening is looking really good for Zest. Ooh. Ooh. Zest keeping his Oracles on just red hit points there. But these Adepts will be caught out in the open. They will get picked off here. There are enough defense units to push them away for now, but I think if ARMANI can get pickoffs, then it will help this push that's coming. Blink. Okay, so it is going to be a Blink response. And he's just going to invest into that much earlier than he did the previous game. Does this... I think he knows this is coming, right? Yeah. He's had the oracles here. Surely he knows. Is that a second robo or a first robo? First robo. Okay. +1 attack. Blink. There's a lot of sentries here, actually. Yeah, it's going to be Blink Stalker Force Field. And ARMANI's still making units. He's kind of halted his drone count and he's been very passive here. So the longer this goes on, I mean, the income is severely in Zest's favor. Up almost 1,000 minerals at the moment, a minute. Oh, Zergling's going to come in here. There's no force fields to block them off just yet. Good weapons though. Yeah, they will go down. There's no saving it. More Ling's going to come into the third base here. And force fields, oh my god, we'll cut them off again. And don't forget, ARMANI has just been sitting there making units, so this is quite bad. You needed to get a lot more done than this, but so far this has been a lot of lost momentum here for ARMANI. I don't think there's a critical amount of Ravagers here for ARMANI this time. The Queens, of course, do give a lot of HP sustain. And the Biles can break through the force fields, but a lot of the Ling buffer is already gone. Alright, this shield battery is on the high ground. Blink, of course, is done, so Zest should be able to micro against this. Yeah, this time I'm liking Zest's chances a lot more. Zest is in a much more comfortable position than he has been the last couple of times. And yeah, you can really see ARMANI is desperate. GG will be called. Cool, alright. So Zest will put another point on the board, bringing the score still 3-2 with ARMANI in the lead. But so far, I mean, it is the first step to fighting back. Never count Zest out. He's a fighter. All right, submarine. Okay, so they could pick the same map twice. I was wondering about that. Oh no, never mind. They picked the wrong map. Okay, sorry. It's Pillars of God. All right, looks like both players are ready. So we're going to jump into game number 6. Yeah, so ARMANI's still a match point, so he could still close this one out. So he's in a good position. But I don't know if I get the feeling that Zest is starting to get a read on ARMANI. He's starting to kind of understand that he's being quite cheesy here. Alright. Spawning on in the bottom left-hand corner, the blue Protoss, of course, it is Zest. And in his bottom top right-hand corner, it is the red Zerg ARMANI. Cool. Score is 3-2. This is best of 7. Probe once again, going up for the hatch block. Yeah, so, I mean, Zest made a lot of adjustments last game. ARMANI kind of becoming a one-trick pony against Zest here with all of the Ling Ravager Queen pushes. So, Zest making, yeah, the correct adjustment. And maybe he just needs to play a little bit more passively, a little bit more safely. Open Blink Sentry rather than going more committed into the Stargate charge. I'm very curious to see if Zest does that again. Because it does make the most sense, I guess, against the Ravager Queen. Because the Queens, of course, are very slow off creep. So they can either attack... they can only attack. They can't go home. And if they try, they'll get picked off. And the blink just means you can slowly pick them apart from different angles. Of course, you can trade because you can trade the... we can blink the low health stalkers to the back and let them regain their shields. So it does make them a lot of sense. Obviously the sentries as well, cutting the army in half, and the way that they used it to block off the Ling harassment attacks and just box all of the Lings in and pick them all off one by one. Which I actually think it was a big mistake by ARMANI. If he kept those Lings alive, then I actually think that would have been a lot closer. If he had actually held the Lings and saved them for when the Ravager Queen attacks were coming in, then it would have given him a lot more buffer, a lot more DPS. Yes, it's a choke point and not all the Lings will be able to contribute, but it will allow the Ravagers and Queens to deal out more damage. Cool, Stargate opening once again by ZEST. Now it's always kind of a bit weird when Protoss kind of is almost forced into one particular tech choice, and it does seem to fluctuate. Where not too long ago it was always the double Archon drop, and Protoss was more or less kind of forced into that every single game. Now it's kind of rotated to the Stargate. I think some Protoss players do find that a little bit frustrating, where they are forced into a tech choice, especially if it's not one that they like. If, say, they do prefer going Robo, but the meta is pushing them more towards Stargate, it can be a very jarring experience for Protoss players. I'm really liking the Oracle Stalker combo, killing off the Overlord. But I'm not sure how the math works on that one. I mean, I'm pretty sure the Void Ray is more expensive than an Oracle, but the Void Ray would kill the Overlord a lot faster. But maybe the Oracle is just good for scouting and for defending the third base. Yeah, just gets one drone, and it's likely that this Oracle is going to be a bit more passive. Oh no, we'll go in again. There's only one Queen and one Spore here. ARMANI already rotating the Queen. Good reaction times by both players there. The Nexus on the way here for ZEST. More Adepts on the way. So we'll be that 6 Adept 3 Oracle Pressure again. They did quite well last game, so potentially it could do a lot of damage this game as well. Ah, okay. I was wondering when ARMANI was going to do this, because he's been opening one Evolution Chamber every game of the series so far, where he's been going into Carapace. Well, sorry, not every game, but most games so far. But now he's going to mix it up, and he's going to go for melee instead with a Baneling Nest. So he's actually going to go for a bust. And Adept Oracle is not the best at holding something like that. Oh, this is pretty nasty. Oh my god. The Oracle's catching all of the drones on the retreat, but the Adepts will shade on out. They might be forced to recall here. Oh, good focus fired by ARMANI there, killing the low health Oracle. But the Baneling Nest, has that been... I'll just quickly check. Has that been scouted? Yes. Okay. So, ZEST should know, yep, shield batteries and sentries. That is the name of the game right now. And here come those Lings. Oh, not going to go for the Duke to dip there. I think he might have actually been able to win that engagement with the Lings, but I suppose it would have been close. Oh. Okay, just going to go for the probes. Interesting. I mean, ARMANI did have the option here of making a lot of Lings. He decides to make a lot of drones instead. Because he could have made a lot of Lings, have the +1 melee finish, and then make a bunch of Banes and go for an all-in. But I think he saw that ZEST with force fields ready, shield battery ready, that it potentially was not going to work out. Of course, +2 tech is a huge power spike for Zerg, especially for things like Baneling drops and Baneling run-bys, with Banelings being able to one-shot probes. It's quite scary. And we have a lot of roaches in the mix for ARMANI, so looks like he's going to go for another roachling attack. And Overlord speed, okay, cool. So this could be for either Baneling drops, it could be deciding to pick up some queens and transport them across the map. Potentially could even be looking to do a drop in the main, but that might all be redundant because ZEST is going to attack him before this is going to take place. Is there a Warp Prism? Yeah, there's a Warp Prism. About to say, do need to be able to reinforce your army as a Protoss. Alright, looks like ARMANI is aware of this. Surely he's got more units than this, just doesn't quite feel right. Now, there's more mobility for ZEST, but sorry, for ARMANI, but ZEST has a lot of high energy sentries, so his army in a straight up fight should win. I think these lings are supposed to be for a Baneling drop, yeah. But obviously, ARMANI does need to focus more on the front here. Oh, hi Chris, how's it going, man? Oh, this is really... Yeah, this is really risky for ARMANI. I think I like ZEST's position a lot more. Let's see, he's got Blink +1, Twilight on the way, Charge on the way, Armor on the way. Cool. But ARMANI has gone up to 73 drones here. So he's actually been playing fairly passive so far. And as I suspected, the Baneling drop is going to come in with +2 attack. He's going to go for the natural, which is interesting. The Overseer, of course, sees that there's no air units to defend against this. Oh, okay, big engagement going to go down, actually. A lot of force fields have been used, but neither side trading just yet. And there we go, there's the drops. 14 probes! Oh my god, okay. That's a lot of economic damage. So, yeah, no, I think ZEST has to do a counterattack now. ARMANI just has to defend. Oh, 21? Oh, this... I thought that would have been safe with the shield battery and the cannon, but apparently not. Extra 5 probe kills there. Yeah, no, ZEST is definitely going to pull the trigger. He knows he needs to do damage here. I think it's a mistake for ARMANI to go for the counterattack. Yeah, no, he's going to go for the sandwich. Big force fields here by ZEST. He did anticipate this. ZEST will be able to retreat, and there is a really big zealot counterattack here. ARMANI completely out of position. He's pulling everything home to deal with this. And so far, ZEST is setting up like this 3-prong attack, maybe trying to get an ARMANI that is just kind of spread apart. But man, ARMANI has just a lot of roachling. There's a lot of meat on the ground here for ARMANI. It looks like the right flank has been cleaned up. Drones will be pulled with this. Even more probes actually have gone down. I think it was another Baneling drop. Man, this is a very, very action-packed game. Looks like, yeah. No, looks like there's another drop of Lord. Yeah, the supplies are looking very heavily in ARMANI's favor. He's definitely looking very poised to take the final map. Rather, close this out to be the final map, should I say. Yeah, a lot of Zerglings in production tab for ARMANI. He's doubling down. Now, okay, Blink Stalkers, they can go into the main base here, but ARMANI is in position to push that away. Oh, this is just so cool. I mean, it's already kind of difficult to use actions to set up Baneling drops while being harassed on the edge of creep, but to then also do changelings to scout ahead of time is just very cool. Oh, okay, ZEST actually does a probe transfer, so this isn't going to be as bad as it could have been, but 9 probes is just far too many losses. Zest throwing pretty hard. Yeah, no, it doesn't look like it's not his best performance today, actually. And Marty is showing an ability to punish Zest's consistent style with very aggressive Lingbane Ravager. Oh. Man, Zest's gotta be careful. That's not a lot of Stalkers against the amount of Ling Ravager. I'm not sure he knows entirely how many units Zest has back there. And in fact, Zest might be giving him a little bit too much respect. Alright. Wow, this is weird. I mean, Zest has been making some very odd army movements where he's kind of moving around in 2 balls. It's usually a composition that you would expect to be together, as that's when it's the strongest. Yeah, because unfortunately this can happen where if you split your army in half, if your opponent just attacks one half and destroys it, then you've not traded effectively at all. Oh man, okay, this is devastating. I think this might just be lights out here for Zest. The Archons fighting the Roaches, the Stalkers have all gone out to the Banelings. Biles on the Warp Prism, and that should be it. That is GG. ARMANI.